All right. Welcome to the other side of the Firewall podcast, where we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who have made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. I'm here as always, or I'm sorry, my name is Ryan Williams, but I'm here as always with Shannon Tynes
What's up? What's up?
and Levon Maynard.
Good day to everybody.
I don't think I introduced myself last episode, so
Hmm, I don't
they
remember.
know who I
Yeah,
am.
everybody knows you. They know you.
So we've got another good show for you guys this week. So without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right. So, this is an article from CNN Business written by Rachel Metz. And Google offered a professor $60,000, but he turned it down. Here's why. That's the actual title of the article. So, I know it seems like we've been bashing Google lately, and I don't want that to be how it comes off, right? But this was something that when I saw this, I was like, oh man, I was like, I think this will make change because of how it looks, right? So, it was a professor, right? Is an assistant professor at Western University in Ontario, Canada. His name's Luke Stark, right? He studies social and ethical impacts of artificial intelligence, and in late November, he applied for a Google Research Scholar Award, right? No strings attached research grant, up to $60,000 to support professors who are early in their careers. Now, mind you, this is back in November, right? So we've been talking on the show what's been happening in December with Dr. Gabriel. We had Miss Mitchell in February, I think it was, that got let go. And so all this time passes, right? So they hit him up recently, I think it was. It was in March, I think, where he got the letter saying, "Hey, congratulations, we're going to give you the $60,000 that you requested, this, that, and the third." But this is after all these other things came about with Dr. Gabriel and Miss Mitchell, right? So, in here's the thing: he didn't initially turn it down, right? He went and talked to some people, right? Because here's the thing: he didn't really need the money. He was well funded for what he wanted to do, but it was one of those things where it's like, okay, if you can get it from another company, especially a company as large as Google, right? Um, you take advantage of those types of things. But he went around and he talked to some people because he was having his doubts after everything that happened. And what I want to tell you about him. So Luke Stork is his name. He's actually white, right? So this is I don't know if anybody knows the term, but allyship, right? So this is one of those things that helps bring attention because for what is going on at Google and for the perception of how they are treating minorities, this is one of those things where I think holds a little bit more weight because it is someone that's not in the oppressed group that's kind of making a stand inadvertently, right? So this is where allyship comes in. So he actually turned it down. He turned down the $60,000 from Google, and as I'm reading this, I'm like, wow, good on him. You know what I mean? Now, whether or not it was one of those things because he didn't really need the money, it didn't really hurt. Like if he was a struggling professor at a university, doesn't have a budget for it, would it have been the same? I don't know. You know what I mean? I can't say that's the case or not, but he actually turned down this award from Google. And like I was saying, this is one of those things that's going to hurt, right? So even though Google was in the press for all these things with Dr. Gabriel, Miss Mitchell, right? April, was it Cooper? Was it what was her name that quit the liaison? I
Ooh,
think
I'll get
Cooper.
I'll get back to you.
No, okay, yeah,
I gotta
yeah.
look it
So,
up.
so yeah, but there was the other liaison that quit that was not an actual employee of Google, but was the liaison to
Mhm.
minority companies. Um, she actually quit as well, and so I like seeing this because I think this will hurt a little bit more, right? Because now Google, when they go and they put these different scholar awards out there, people are going to be like, okay, I can make a name by saying, okay, I want it, but I'm not going to accept it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. It was good to see for me because I think it'll spark some change. It's some real change, right? And make Google kind of come out a little bit more to say, hey, we realize our mistakes. I'll take that even, right? Like we apologize, we realize our mistakes. This is how we're going to make it better. And I'm not saying they're not taking steps, right? Because they have done some things to take steps, but I want it to be actionable. I want it to be something that is public, right? It's like when you see retractions in the newspaper, right? Like that front page headline that you had 2 weeks ago when you got to retract it, you put it back in the back, right? Like, oh, you can say you retracted it, but it's not as high profile as it was when you had all this stuff on the front page. You know what I mean? But Levon, what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man, I think you're right on point with it. I mean, obviously, it's good on Luke Stark of Stark Industries to
Yeah, that's what I'm
uh,
saying.
he's cousins to Tony Stark. But no, I think it's good on him that he took this stand on this subject. Obviously, like you mentioned as well, Shannon, that definitely not trying to you know badmouth Google, berate them. Obviously, there are some things going on with internally that they seemingly need to work on to help ensure that their workforce is taken care of. Everybody's satisfied with how conditions there and how they're being treated. So hopefully they continue to work on that. But on the side note, obviously we know the situation with the two employees that, you know, with the issues with the AI program and again let go, and then all the emails and things like that. So um, it's nice to see that, like you mentioned, allyship, that somebody's actually making a stand, because somebody could have easily accepted the money, even if they said like, "I'll take the money," and then uh, could have took the money and then did something else with it. Could have like used it for some other, like, I don't know, could have donated it, or like uh, just in spite of Google, like, I'm not going to use this for my research. I'm going to use this for like supporting young African American startups or something like that. But nonetheless, though, he just took a stand and said, I'm not even going to accept the money. I'm going to show, make a point. And this is going to get headline news, and people are going to see this article or see these articles like out in the news, and kind of make their own determination as far as what Google's doing and why. If somebody feels strong enough to not accept $60,000, something must be going on. So uh, with that, I think I'm proud of Stark. Um, I'm going to continue watching the Marvel movies, and I just like, not joking. No, I think it's great. No, all seriousness, but he's a, you know, I, even myself, I would have to pause before not accepting money. Um, I think if it was me, maybe I would have like accepted it and just like kind of donated it, kind of like in spite of Google. It's like, yeah, give me your money. I don't, but uh, it's good that he made that stand, and I know people took note. I know we're taking note, and hopefully, like you mentioned as well, Shannon, that Google continues to work on the internal programs and helps better the work environment for everybody there. But with that, you have any thoughts as well, Ryan, on this subject?
Sure. Yeah, so I agree. Like that is allyship. I think it just makes it tougher on Google, because you can't even give people your money at this point. Now the next person who they offer 60 or 100 or whatever is also going to feel that pressure, which some may say that that's coercion. That's not right. Let people do what they need to do, and I agree. However, this is what peaceful protest looks like, right? It's better than destroying property and things of that nature. Instead, you apply pressure and you show people like, hey, listen, they need to make a change. And then regardless of these people, like I'm sure he was an ally and did it for the right reasons. But even if he wanted the money, it's going to a point where people were like, no, thank you. Like it's not, the publicity is not worth the grant at that point, which is good. And I'm also tired of bashing Google week after week, and I'm sure they're doing a bunch of stuff to fix their procedures. It's just this is what happens, right? Like if you have all this stuff on the back end happening, it's slowly creeping out and then becoming headlines. And now in this case, nothing even happened to a person of color. It was just like, I don't want this money because of the previous mistakes you've been making with people of color. So I think that's good. Like I think Google's not going to go under. People will still do research for Google, but this will continue, make them continue to make strides, and they'll keep pressure on it. Like maybe they've already made these strides, now it'll keep pressure on them to keep up the effort. So good. I agree with it, and I'm glad it happened. And then again, we're not Google bashers, so I'm sure in the next few weeks, Google's going to do something amazing when it comes to donations, or when it comes to hiring people, or uh, a, a vast multitude of things. I'm sure they have an entire campaign headed our way of how they're supporting people of color. So that's what's up in advance. If you don't have that, then you should be working on it.
Right.
And,
That's right. That's a little
and
hint.
yeah, and again, they are doing stuff, right? So it's not like they're not doing thing. There was what was the woman's name? I can't remember now. We go through so many topics and I read so many stuff. Was her name Miriam? It was the black female they hired on to head the AI group
Was
now.
it last name
Oh,
Crowley? Maybe
Yeah,
is her last name.
I
I
can't
believe so.
remember.
Because
Yeah,
now I found April Christine Curley is the
Curly.
recruiter. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the recruiter that quit just out of
yeah,
just discouragement. Like she was the only one hiring people who were black and brown.
right.
And she had to leave. But yes, so now they do have another. I think she's the AI director.
Yeah,
I want to
yeah.
say sounds cool. I don't know if that's her actual title, but
But that's the thing, is that you want to see more than, don't just put a person of color in the position and expect it to go away, right? Like, give me
right,
something actionable on top of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like they're not trying. I want to say that again. It's not like they're not trying, but like, I do want to see that big public. Okay, here's where it is, right? I mean, Google, Google giving $1 million is a drop in the bucket to me. You know what I mean? So like, do something that's going to have opportunities that go forward to help people. You know what I mean?
right, exactly. Because I mean,
I
I
like
mean,
that.
at some point they're gonna have the same initiative or something similar to Goldman Sachs that we talked about last week, where like, hey, we're going to invest in women of color, specifically Black women. So at some point there'll be some initiative or some drive, or maybe they'll do like drives for kids to code or things of that nature. Like it, I'm sure there's some stuff in the works because just the publicity is just too bad right now. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
True that. True that.
But with that being said, I think that's the natural conclusion to this episode. Uh, Shout out to my co-hosts. Thank you to the Patreon patron. Remember, you can watch this episode at least 7 days early, completely ad free if you subscribe to the Patreon. If not, when it hits the free feeds, please check out the YouTube video, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, and please continue to listen to us on audio. You can reach all of our social medias through www.theothersideofthefirewall.com. You specifically hit us up. I am at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. On Twitter, LinkedIn, and TikTok, Clubhouse. I think that's it. And Levon,
Hit me up at Levon Maynard on the Twitters.
there you go. So that's it for this episode. Y'all take care.
Take care.